All right, this floor system is prepped and ready to go in. I did 2 rows here, kind of zigzagged my holes for the spot welds, plug welds, sorry. That's something that Mr. Fireman Roger has been talking about, and I think it's a great idea. It should spread the stress up that face rather than leaving it right down on the tip. So we'll weld that right up, and that should work pretty good. Now back onto the frame, the unibody frame. I did cut these flanges off even for the mini tubs. I missed that part earlier on. I didn't realize that had to happen, but it does. So those are all prepped and ready to go. Working on the upper cowl now. I've got my holes punched, everything ready for plug welds, and everything should be good to go. I'm going to do something a little different here. Rather than plug weld to this surface here, most of the channels I've watched don't have this piece in it, and apparently when you're building a new chassis, this is not part of the equation. So rather than try to plug weld that and just try to hit that and follow that along, I think I'm going to use some of this 3M panel adhesive. I'm just going to put a bead through here and apply that, clamp it when I clamp everything else down, clamp and hold it. It should be separated far enough from this edge so I don't need to worry about heat from my plug welds. I'll probably stop over here somewhere anyway. I think that'll work good. The adhesives are very good. That should be fine. And it saves a lot of plug welding, and it saves a potential squeak down the road too. So like I said, most of them have that bracket already removed, and just the cowl supporting this area. So yeah, I'm gonna try that, just something a little different. We'll see how it goes. If you hear me cursing and swearing up a storm later, that's why. But everything else I think is prepped for this cowl. I did check the measurement well, I had it mocked up. I checked the measurement between this bolt hole and the bolt hole in the front for the top fender on the cowl. This bolt hole here. 14 7/8 center to center. That was something that was gone over on Amazing Sheet Metal's Tech Talk Tuesday. And very useful little measurement, because that ensures that you have everything spaced out right. Now, it would be hard to not have it right in this situation. If it wasn't right, then there may be cause for panic. But it was spot on, so it's just a good thing to verify. I think I'm gonna throw that cowl in next. I'm gonna check my checklist first, make sure there isn't anything else I'm missing. But I did blow holes through this for the plug welds and over there. So I think I'm in pretty good shape. Prep the 3M panel bond, and we'll see what happens. This is the panel bond epoxy I'm using, 08115 3M panel bonding adhesive. Comes with a couple tips. I had to buy the gun separate, but this is the product. Workable time 90 minutes. Wow. Clamp time 4 hours. Cure time 24. That's pretty impressive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, clamp it all up, get that squished right down nice, and then stop. I won't weld or beat or bang on anything else until at some point this week. That's a long working time, so I don't want to screw this up. So anyway, I'll show you this as this goes, and we'll see what happens. That went well. that panel bond works half as good as everybody claims it does. This is going to be a killer setup. So just again, I put a bead on the back side. You can see some dripping out right there. Drip, drip, drip. Yeah, the surface has made it up beautifully. I probably didn't even need to clamp it, but what the hell, right? Let's clamp it. Yeah, and using Juby's one screw down in the valley here, that method, that works so nice. Look at that. I mean, I've just got to double check my heights a little bit. I think this side might be a hair low, or should get the monkey on a stick. Yeah, I feel like this side could come up just a whisker. This kind of indicates that too, but I don't want to put too much stock in a flimsy, cowl, side cowl. But I will check all of that before I final weld this. Make sure probably at least something down near the rocker, because obviously you want to check that against the front frame mount, but I don't have those in yet, so I'll check something down on the rocker, on the bottom edge of the rocker, something where I can get a pretty consistent point side to side and tram it or do something like that. But yeah, look at that. Starting to come back together. Woo! So I'll finish, I probably won't finish this part up today. Like I said, I want to give that adhesive plenty of time under clamp. So 24 hours is not unheard of. Maybe I'll get back up here Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that in the evening, and just sum this front up, get it happy, and go from there. But yeah, so far so good. Loving it. This is going to be awesome. So yeah, the more parts that go on, the more it starts to look like something. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I let the panel bond adhesive cure overnight. I got in here and I leveled up the chassis really good with my screw jacks. Just stuck them right under the lift arms, which worked really slick. Then I leveled the chassis up real good and used Juby's trick where I put a couple of grinder wrenches under the front bolt holes and just used that to level it up. And I got it pretty close. Not perfect, but very close. I did have to pull down on one side a little bit. It was out by a little over an eighth, probably 3/16 before I kind of tweaked it. But yeah, then I went through and plug welded it. I did put a couple of stitch welds up the sides. It's a pretty important joint right there. And well, I don't trust my plug welds that much. So ground it off. Most of that stuff I didn't get too crazy with the grinding because those cowl panels are super thin right in there. So didn't want to get stupid with that. They'd be covered with seam sealer anyway. Yeah, so that's the end of that. So hopefully that'll all stay right where it's at. Yeah, don't see much problem beyond that. So next step, I believe, is to marry up this body to the floor panel back there. So that'll be exciting. Gonna call in my ace ringer welder, Bobby. Bobby was a friend of mine from way back in high school, and he's welded a lot of my racing chassis and my race cars through the years, and we've had him welding some rough stuff, so this ought to be a dream compared to what we used to do when we were kids. Anyway, I'm gonna have him here in a couple weeks, and we'll mate that up. So that's I think where we're at right now. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps spread the word and get some good information out there. And I don't claim to do everything right, but I have a a method, just like everybody else. So the more you learn, the better you are. So anyway, we're in good shape here. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to slap some primer on this now just to cover up that bare metal, and then call it a night.